Hey guys. I pinned my hair up for this video so it's not in my eyes. Does this work? Or do I look ridiculous? I'm not sure. As you may have noticed, I'm still very much figuring out a consistent style of content for my channel, figuring out what I like to make, how I like to do it. But as that learning process has been going on, I have been figuring out other things in my life. One thing I've learned a lot about is organization. Now, as a child and as a teenager, and in college, organization is not something that has ever come super easily and naturally to me, but it is something that everyone needs to know and needs to figure out at some point in their life because it is important. And just over the past 2 years I've been married now, I have learned a lot about it and grown a lot in my organizational skills. I figured why not share a few of these organizational tips with you guys. If it helped me, someone who has never had any natural bent towards organization, it might be able to help someone else, so here they are. These tips are more structured for the things I need them for most, which is balancing your work duties and your chores at home and just your everyday responsibilities. That being said, my first tip does involve organizing actual physical things. The sun. It's back again. You know how nice it would be to have actual lighting, like lights, not just a lamp next to my camera? That would be so nice. Tip number 1 is keep your work area and your living area neat and clean. But Heather, I hear you say, I'm literally watching this video because I have so many responsibilities and I need a way to organize them all. You're giving me more responsibilities, keeping more things in order, and I'm aware that's how it might seem on the surface. However, let me explain this a little bit more. Getting a living area or a work area neat and clean and set really just takes one big strong push to get everything the way it should be. And then all you need to do is little everyday maintenance like folding your clothes and putting them away right before bed instead of just throwing them on the floor. Or rinsing off your dish when you put it by the sink instead of just throwing it in the sink because it makes it so much easier to wash later. Once you get the big responsibilities done, like cleaning up all the 200 glasses you have after having a bunch of people over for game night or something, all you need to worry about is the little bits of maintenance that you have to do to keep things at that nice, clean, neat level. And this accomplishes 2 things. You're in an environment that makes things easier to do because your desk is neat or you don't have to search for a clean cup to get yourself a drink in the middle of your project. And you don't have the guilt of having a dirty house or a dirty desk weighing you down when you're trying to get that hard work done. At least that's how it worked for me. Some people thrive in really dirty environments, I guess, but I think for most people, having things neat and easy to find and just there is going to make stuff easier. My second tip is being intentional about being mentally present with whatever project you're trying to do. That wording might not make a lot of sense at first, but it will in a minute. If you're anything like me, social media is a huge distraction. It's so easy to flip out your phone or go on the computer and just be scrolling through Facebook and Instagram and just passively taking all this information in like, oh, look at that cute picture. Oh, look at the fluffy cat. Oh, look at the exciting thing my friends did last weekend. Oh, 6 hours have passed. Maybe not that much, but really a lot of time that could have been spent on something actually productive and profitable. Somehow, you became distracted from whatever you were supposed to be doing. And when I say you, I mean me, because this can happen to me. I've gotten a lot better, but it's life. To combat this, I need to be intentional about putting my phone out of my reach. So, for example, plugging it into charge in my room while I'm getting stuff done in my office. If you're the sort of person that can hold to deadlines, only giving yourself 5 minutes as a quick break before delving back into whatever you're supposed to be working on. Basically, I think the important thing to do is focus your mind on the task at hand. Sit down, think through kind of what you're going to need to do to accomplish whatever it is you need to do, and then think about each step as you're doing it. Don't kind of just start, letting your mind wander and being like, oh, I wonder what my friend's doing this Saturday. I should see what they're up to on Facebook, that sort of thing. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Get the goal of what you want to work on in your head and just focus on it. Think about it. If your mind gets distracted, pull yourself back to it. You're in control of your own mind, and if you choose to intentionally do things that will encourage you to do what you need to be doing, it helps. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'll know after editing this if that makes sense. I may need to put a little blurb disclaimer here explaining what I just said. Editing Heather here. That definitely didn't make any sense. What I was trying to say was, you need to learn what sort of things will distract you and then make intentional actions to keep those things away from you. So for example, I know my phone will distract me, so I put it in my room while I'm working so it won't distract me. Or if you do take a social media break, make sure you have a way to pull yourself out of there because it can be very easy to get sucked back in. The other thing I was trying to say was, if you get distracted by your own thoughts, like your mind is prone to running off on tangents and like just pulling you away from what you're supposed to be focusing on, you need to find a way to train your mind. For me, this was just intentionally noticing, oh, my brain is doing that again. I need to pull my thoughts back to what I'm working on. Like, you can choose to think about something, so just forcing yourself to do that until it becomes habit and it's easier for you not to go off on tangents. That is what I was trying to say. Alright, back to the rest of the vlog. My third tip is to make a physical paper list of the things you need to get done. The way this works for me is the night before a work day, I sit down for 10 minutes or whatever, think of all the things I need to get done, and then physically write down on a piece of paper. I have a specific notebook for this that I just turn the pages through for each day for writing stuff down, and I write down what I need to do. Then the next day, I'm not overwhelmed by just a bunch of thoughts bouncing around in my mind like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that too, oh, and I need to do this. It gives me a clear, laid out version of, hey, this is what you're responsible for today. And the ability to physically cross it out when I'm done with something and be like, yes, I accomplished that, really helps when you're just like, yeah, I am getting things done, things are going well. It's not just, okay, this thing bouncing around in my mind is gone, now I have to worry about all these things bouncing around in my mind. I don't know, it gives me a little bit of validation being able to cross it off and be like, yes, I did it, good job, all right, what's next? Something important to remember for this is not to overload yourself. If you put like 12 things on your list, 12 big projects, there's no way you're going to be able to get this done, and you're going to get discouraged, and you're going to be like, all right, just forget the whole list, never mind. So it's going to take at least a few days, I think, of learning your limits and learning how much work you can get done in a day. But once you get that down, at least I found it's so much easier to just have it laid out and be like, yes, I can do this, I can get this done. This is my responsibility for the day. Another note on this would be, at least for me, don't put things that you think of as fun on the list as I need to do this. Obviously, you're going to want to take breaks during the day and do something fun for yourself. Leave a little bit of time for breaks, but don't put down what you're going to do for a break, because then it just becomes more work and not something fun and exciting to look forward to. At least that's how it works for me. Maybe someone needs to plan exactly what they're doing for their break too. I guess that's something for you to figure out. But I found for me, that just, it doesn't work. I then see what I would have been doing for fun and as taking a break from work as more work and another thing to check off the list, and it doesn't work for me. But it might work for you, so I guess that's just a thought to consider. And those are my top 3 tips for organizing your responsibilities and everything you need to get done in your life. Let me know in the comments down below if any of this works for you, or if you've had similar experiences to what I've had. If you're going to try some of these out, see if it works for you. I'd love to know if I'm actually being helpful, sharing my current experience. I don't know. And if you want to join us on this roller coaster of seeing what I'm going to make next, you can subscribe to me here. I make a new video every Monday. Or if you want to see some other stuff I've made, you can see my videos right here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. He was meowing, so I've decided to torture him by making him a part of the video. He doesn't really seem to mind. He's purring.